This morning on a special edition of The Dish, we visit an old friend of the show, chef, cookbook author, and restaurateur, Michael Lomonaco. He spent his almost 40-year career in the kitchens of top-tier restaurants. I last shared a meal with him back in 2018.
This time, I got to join her, with the three of us sitting down at Porterhouse, his acclaimed New York City restaurant, to see what he has been up to.
Dan, I'm so glad you're here with us.
Me too.
Because this is one of my favorite spots. My very first dish with this guy right here, Michael Lomonaco. And look at this table. He always brings out the best.
I am almost without words to describe how much food is on this table.
A lot.
A lot.
And he feeds you.
What are you feeding us?
A snack. Well, we have a classic porterhouse steak, and we have a chili rubbed ribeye, a natural chicken roasted with natural juices and polenta.
And I'm starting to eat as you're describing.
Okay, me
keep
too.
going, keep going.
A lobster that's butter poached and finished with black truffles. Our famous crab cakes, some roasted carrots, and the spaghetti with Marcella Hazan's tomato sauce, which I learned to make from Marcella back in the 80s when I was still a student, and I make that dish for her.
What I was fascinated by in your story, actor turned chef. How does one make that turn from acting to doing all of this?
It was a pivot. It was definitely a pivot moment in my life where I was an actor, you know, doing my thing, making the rounds and driving a cab.
Driving a cab.
Driving
I
a
didn't
cab.
know the cab part.
Yeah.
That's even better.
And I met a famous chef, Patrick Clark, and I owe my livelihood to Patrick Clark, who was downtown, picked him up, took him home in the, like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he told me all about how he got his education and how he worked through his apprenticeship. And it so inspired me because I loved cooking. It was my passion. 6 months later, I registered in school and went back to school, retooled.
But
retooled.
Didn't he tell you go out and discover the world?
Well, actually, that's such an important characteristic for chefs. I think, you really need to kind of get out of your bubble and see what else is going on in the world. And Patrick, he had gone and studied in France, and I found that so inspiring that when I graduated school, I went to France, and I went to Italy, I went to Greece, and it was all part of my education.
I love food. I love cooking, not at the level you do. What is it? What's that button that for you it presses where it's like, this is what I have to do?
You know what? This is really, the hospitality is really about welcoming people, greeting them, caring for them, giving them a chance to rest and restore. And it's always about cooking one dish at a time. No matter how many you're cooking for, it's the focus of one guest at a time. I always try to instill that in young chefs, that even though you're making 12 at one time, it's sort of like—
That's the impossible thing to do.
But it's how we multitask. It sort of goes with the job. And, it's really about being generous and kind to the guest. Even though we don't see them, they're in the dining room, we're in the kitchen. They are our audience, and that's who we play to.
But you're generous and kind to everyone. And I think about your resume and how your kindness has really taken you from one restaurant to another.
The word porterhouse is not about the steak. The word porterhouse comes from the name of the old porterhouses, which were places of eating and drinking that were all about welcoming strangers. That's what the porterhouse of the 19th century was. And I always thought that's what it should be. A porterhouse should be a place where we welcome people, no matter who they are and where they come from.
You really have, poured your heart and soul into the culinary scene, but now you're opening the aperture, so to speak.
Ooh.
The lens.
I like that.
And extending your lens beyond food. Tell us more about that.
Well, I've spent 40 years in the kitchen, and I love it. It gives me the most satisfaction. I know I can't believe it myself. But you also need to have the things that inspire you. So museums inspire me, music inspires me, the theater inspires me. And I've been taking photographs since I was 12 years old. When I was a teenager, I had a dark room, and I was on the high school newspaper and took sports photos and that kind of thing. And I've been taking more photographs and studying guitar again, which I've been playing guitar since I was 14. So, trying to enrich my life is a personal thing, and I'm working on a memoir. And a lot of people write memoirs, but I think it's
You have
something
a
I'd like
story.
to do.
We're getting little bits and
Yes.
pieces. You do have a story.
You do have a story to tell.
Hey, born in New York City, child of immigrants. My dad was a barber. My brothers are doctors. This city, this country has been so good to my family that we welcome everyone.
So I'm a little greedy
Are you?
because we talked a little about the food, and I can't help but notice out of the corner of my eye, dessert.
Yes, we have a great pastry chef. Evan has done a great job with us for years, actually. And he's creative and he keeps everything luscious and delicious. Restaurants are hard. Having a pastry chef is kind of luxurious.
It's a luxury.
But we think it's important. We think the guest experience, the diner's experience is important. So
You really are making us put all the weight we were trying to lose.
no. This is a chocolate peanut butter cake.
Yes, please.
Our classic Charleston, South Carolina coconut cake, creme brulee, assorted cookies that we make, brownies and blondies, and Italian-style rainbow cookies that are some of the best I've ever had. You know what? Finishing a great meal with dessert is something I love to do, so I imagine there are other people who like that too.
Well, I have to say, I didn't see you eat one thing for dinner, but you were digging into this
That's because
dessert.
we were making him talk the whole time.
Right.
I am going to make you talk again because when we used to have chefs in studio, you've done this before. It was our favorite question that has fallen a little by the wayside, but I will ask you. If you could have this meal with anyone past or present, who would it be?
Well, it would have to be a group of people, and that's really my family, my family who's left us, and that's always such a hard question because, you want to be tricky with it, but it's the people I love to share a table with that I always want to share a table with.
Thank you for sharing the table with us.
Thanks for asking
Thank you.
us back. Always asking us back.
Cheers.
He's my friend now, too.
Yes,
He's not
he
just
is.
yours. He's
Well,
mine,
you
too.
know, I go there all the time, and when he was
know.
talking about that spaghetti, he was talking about like making it for me. So but I cannot tell you what a dear person he is, how he's given back. This will be the last part of the scholarship that was based on his restaurant, Windows of the World, and all the people who work for him because they died certainly in 9/11, and he's put all of the children of his employees through
It's amazing.
college. It really is.
And we talked about it when we were there with him. The employees there at Porterhouse, remember they went through COVID, obviously. They came back. Everyone came back, wanted to be back and working for him. That speaks volumes. And I knew the moment I walked in, because it was like, I got a hug right away. It was just, he is that person. So he's my friend now, too.
Yes.
And look what he sent.
I know.
The desserts
can't
to put
believe
on more, which you've been very good, you haven't touched, but it's
I ate
delicious.
plenty already.
I'm gonna keep eating for you.